Thank you so much. Can you just speak to some of the programs that Democrats want funding for in the $1.5 trillion list of demands? We've heard things like $13.4 million for civic engagement in Zimbabwe, $3.9 million for LGBTQ democracy grants in the Balkans, things like this. You guys say this is about saving healthcare, but how do these pet projects fit in?
Yeah, we have no idea what you're talking about or what Republican extremists fed you those talking points, but the reality is what we are doing is defending the health care of the American people. Yeah, we do want to restore the fact that the largest cut to Medicaid in American history has been visited upon the American people by Donald Trump and Republicans, even though they promised to love and cherish Medicaid. But instead of doing that, they cut about $1 trillion from Medicaid. And as a result of that fact, hospitals, nursing homes, and community-based health centers are closing all across the country, including in Republican states, like Georgia, like Alabama, and Republican states all across the country. And Republicans have visited the largest cut to Medicaid in American history on their own people. That's what we want to restore. We want to avoid the fact that because of what Republicans did in their one big ugly bill, what they did is to trigger the possibility of a $536 billion cut to Medicare, because Republicans have put a bullseye on Medicare and Social Security since those earned benefits were created. And yet we have a problem with the fact that Republicans want to devastate the Medicare of the American people. And why did they do that? Why did they cut Medicaid by almost $1 trillion? Because they want to reward their billionaire donors with massive tax breaks. And they made those massive tax breaks permanent, while at the same time can't even be bothered to extend Affordable Care Act tax credits for working class Americans who are about to experience dramatically increased premiums, copays, and deductibles. The American people know that Democrats are fighting for them, for working class America, for middle class America, and for everyday Americans, and that Republicans continue to show up for the wealthy, the well-off, and the well-connected. Yeah.
The new congresswoman from Arizona, Speaker Johnson keeps saying that his antics and stunts, whatever you're doing, and he says the new lawsuit is for national publicity. Would you care to comment on that?
Well, let me yield to Katherine and Pete as well. I had the opportunity yesterday to stand with Jamie Raskin and Congresswoman-elect Adelita Grijalva after Democrats tried for the 5th time to be recognized so that Representative-elect Adelita Grijalva could be sworn in. 4 weeks have passed since she was elected. And the reason why Mike Johnson and House Republicans refused to swear in Representative-elect Adelita Grijalva is because they want to continue to hide the Epstein files from the American people. That's crystal clear at this point in time. There is no other reason that this has dragged on this long when extreme MAGA Republicans who were elected out of the state of Florida underperformed in those elections, by the way, dramatically, as Republicans have been doing all across the country, and as we'll see in New Jersey, in Virginia, and in California in under 2 weeks. Those two extreme MAGA Republicans, these are individuals who aren't even qualified to serve in the People's House. Let's be clear about that. And yet Mike Johnson decides to swear them in less than 24 hours after these extremists are elected to the House of Representatives, and now 4 weeks have passed. The reason why they continue to unlawfully block the swearing in of Adelita Grijalva is because they are actively hiding the Epstein files from the American people, and they're protecting someone clearly. The wealthy, the well-off, the privileged, and the well-connected.
Yeah, I just think this is so shameful that someone who won with 70% of the vote. By the way, the vote total that she had was a larger percentage than the two Republicans that they swore in. So, under his own standard, right, we need to swear her in. She has a certificate of election from the Secretary of State in Arizona. It is absolutely shameful that Speaker Johnson hasn't given her the oath of office. Members were sworn in during the government shutdown 6 years ago. A new class of members took their oath of office. None of these excuses actually mean anything, is what Leader Jeffries just said. These are just talking points because he doesn't want to swear her in to be the 218th signature on these Epstein files. That's just what it is. But for her, and I know Adelita Grijalva is more concerned about her constituents than she is about her. This is about 800,000 people in the state of Arizona who don't have a voice here on Capitol Hill until she takes office. So for those people who are reaching out, who need help and support, who are navigating federal agencies, veterans who need VA appointments, those individuals don't get the help and support because they don't have a member of Congress. They can go to their senators, and we encourage them to do that. But it's absolutely shameful that Speaker Johnson will swear Adelita Grijalva in, and it really does beg the question of, what are you hiding? Why not? How easy can this be? Pro forma session, swear a member in. It's not that hard. Speaker Johnson needs to do the right thing.
Thank you, Leader Jeffries. Wondering if you could comment, the Pentagon is implementing some new policy with regards to communication with members of Congress, apparently centralizing that through a specific office. How, from your perspective in Congress, would that affect the day-to-day operations here and your visibility as a co-equal branch of government into what's going on there?
Well, this is just another example, and by the way, Pete Hegseth, the most unqualified Secretary of Defense in American history, and an example of the type of extremists that have been rubber stamped by Republicans in the Senate. They know these people were unqualified. They put them into office, and now they're continuing to undermine American values every single day of the week, as opposed to actually doing their job. And from our perspective as Democrats, listen, we're not going to bend, we're not going to break, we're not going to bow down to any wannabe king as it relates to upholding our oath of office and standing up on behalf of the American people. The Republicans were confused as we began to deal with the spending bill issues that we're confronting right now on behalf of the American people. They're very confused because all along Donald Trump knows that House and Senate Republicans, they function like a wholly owned subsidiary of the Trump cartel. That's how they act. They just rubber stamp Donald Trump's extreme policies and they move on. Don't say anything about it. Boss says jump, they just say how high. That's how Republicans have been behaving all year. Our thing is that, no, we are a separate and co-equal branch of government. We don't work for Donald Trump. We don't work for J.D. Vance. We don't work for their MAGA billionaire donors. We work for the American people. And that's why we're standing up for the health care of everyday Americans. And that's why Democrats are in this fight until we win this fight. Thank you all.
Thank you, Griffin. Yeah, you too.